Welcome to Them Bahamians, the media initiative of the Bahamian American Cultural Society. The mission of this society is to, in summary, to improve the understandings between people and to break down the barriers to peace. Through the exposure of the best values of the culture of the Bahamas. I am Beryl Edgecombe, and I'll be your host today. This conversation is being brought to you through the facilities of Manhattan Neighborhood Network. My guest this afternoon is Pat Dixon, a genealogist from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Welcome, Pat. Glad you're able to join me.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like for you to share, some information with myself and my guests on getting started in genealogy, starting your family search. Can you give us some information on, can you share some information with us on getting started?
Yeah, basically the first thing to get started is we actually have like 5 steps. And the first thing is to write down what you know. And that is usually on a pedigree chart that you start with. So it would be, you always start with you, and then you go your parents, your grandparents, and like that. You write down everything you know, and you also then talk to family members to get information. And as soon as you can get as much information as you can, then you start researching online and other places. But so there are some basic forms that really help when you're getting started, which is the pedigree chart, the family group sheet, and a research log, which a research log is really important because as you're doing research, it is important to write down when you find something and when you don't find something. Because what we do many times is after a couple of years we can't remember, did I look at that document or did I look at that film or that census? And so you write down what it was and if you found it or even if you didn't find it. Mm-hmm. And we have there's another really good form that is called a research checklist, and it's one of our favorites because it has how many things that you can, sometimes we always just think we're going to look for marriage, birth, and death records. But there are so many records, and on this form it talks about vital census, land records, military records, and probate records, even voting and city directories, and there's many places to look to get a picture of your ancestor and their life. Okay. And so that's kind of basically the beginning.
Okay. To just go back a little bit, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you do, at the church?
Yeah. I am the director of the Family History Center, and it's on here in Manhattan. And basically, we have a small room now that has 6 computers, and we actually do have a room upstairs that has film readers. And so what we do is we help people get started in their genealogy, and other people that are more experienced genealogists order films from the Salt Lake City Family History Center. And actually it's the Salt Lake City Family History Library, and we're a family history center. We're a little branch, and so we can order films from there, and they can view them at our center. They can also, if they find a document, we have 2 film scanners, and so they can save it to their USB, or they can print it if they find a document that is of their ancestor.
Okay. How many centers are there?
So there's 4,500 centers all over the world. And so they that are all able to order films for people doing their genealogy.
Okay. Well, I know there's one in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
a genealogy center there, or where they're teaching, how to get started in genealogy?
Actually, it's a really small family history center right now, and people, you just call for an appointment, actually. So it doesn't have like any open hours.
Okay.
But I do have that information, for those that are interested.
And I know that you said, how many films do you have there at Salt Lake City?
So 2.4 million rolls of film.
And that's, so I guess it's easy to tell me which countries are not included in that collection.
Yeah, actually the countries that they, actually what they do, they have written down what countries they do have. So they have the United States, Canada, British Isles, Europe, Latin America, Asia, and Africa are the basic countries. And most of the records are for, about people that have lived before 1930.
You didn't mention Ireland. Did you have Ireland there?
There is Ireland, because I've seen Ireland, but so there is Ireland. I think that Britain, England, Scotland. So they do have that too. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you. Anytime when folks mention genealogy, the Latter-day Saints, it comes parallel as the leader in genealogy. Why is it so important in the Latter-day Saints faith to know about genealogy?
Well, because our belief is that we live eternally, and we live eternally with our loved ones, and so that's basically there's a strong bond there that we feel with our families and those that have passed on. And the Salt Lake City Family History Library was started in 1894 to help assist the members to find their ancestors. And the other reason is because we believe in Jesus Christ, and that He is our Savior, and that He commanded all of us, to be baptized to be saved. And so some of our family members, our ancestors, did not have the opportunity to hear the gospel or be baptized, and so we just provide that opportunity. We believe there's still a choice that they can accept or reject, but that's why we're so motivated to.
So you said that you live on forever.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Well, basically, after we die, and we the resurrection, we believe in the resurrection, and that we'll live again and be together as families. And so.
Okay. So you baptize the deceased ancestor?
By proxy. So if I had an ancestor that had never heard the gospel or been baptized, and that's what we do in the temples, is we do baptism for the dead.
When we're talking about those persons who have not been baptized or who have not heard the word of God and are now deceased, which period are we talking about?
Well, I guess before now, we don't know if there's no record of them being baptized, if we are doing research and we do have family members that have been baptized, then they wouldn't need the ordinance. But it's recently, we don't have records back so far, like the 1500s or 1400s, something like that.
Okay.
But in the 1800s, or before the church was restored, and us keeping records of the members getting baptized.
Right. Okay.
Church has been expanded so much over the years.
Yeah.
You know, that now there's 14 million plus people,
Wow.
and actually, there's like when they talk about the languages, there's actually more Spanish-speaking members now than,
Okay.
you know, because of South America, and so that just it's kind of a mission to reach the world.
Okay.
You know, and so actually, as soon as they have permission and in different countries that they accept missionaries, then the missionaries will go there. But they will do it only when they, you know, get permission and the government.
Oh, I
says
see.
it's okay, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay. Let's go back to baptismal. How old do you have to be in order to be baptized in the Latter-day Saints?
So 8 years old.
Must be 8 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
No, in the Christian faith, like 6 months.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And in baptizing at 8 years old, do they do a family genealogy? Is that required at that time, or when is it required?
So they do have, you know, they all have their, like, what is really encouraged is for them to have 4 generations. And so that's what is kind of the goal for the members, to have 4 generations. And then, of course, as soon as you probably know that when you start doing the family history, it becomes really addicting. So
True.
many members have, you know, just gone on. It's just, there's just something really bonding and special about when you finding information about your family. So.
Yeah, I've done about 6 of them, so I
Really?
know what you're.
Yeah.
And I've started out first at the New York Public Library, and then I've gone to the Lincoln Center.
Oh yeah.
So I've been going there for quite a number of years before they closed it. So we were pretty angry.
I know. I know.
A lot of folks were angry when they closed that.
Yeah, I've heard some that have really advocated to Salt Lake to open it again. So they have opened, even although it's small, they it's just the beginning. You know, they're hoping to increase the size either in our building or another building, or
because in 2004. The Bahamian American Cultural Society held our first genealogical conference at the 16th Street branch. So so Latter-day Saints co-sponsored with us.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had the first one there.
Yeah, so we do have on the 3rd floor, we have enough space like to do a conference, or to there's other organizations that if they would like to use our space or use a room for their meeting, or you know, or have demonstrations on family search. We can go upstairs and accommodate like 50 people or to 100 people or something like that. But as far as working right in our little library, it's, you know, like 6 computers.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. You began to say, how do you get started? What kind of electronic resources do you have at your center?
So what we have is, well, FamilySearch.org is the main one, which is totally free to everybody. We do have a subscription to Ancestry.com. And actually, if anyone would like to email me this, but we were just looking on like Google and other things, and we found quite a few websites with Bahamian records, you know, and so we just had some people. Sometimes it is a little tricky, you know, just getting around to find it. But I emailed at the Salt Lake City, you know, headquarters, and just asked them what all the resources that they could help me with Bahamian records, you know, and the main thing is we have two collections that are online now. So what's happening is there's a big project with that volunteers are doing, and anyone can volunteer. It's the indexing, and so and you can do it at home, you know, just they'll send you a batch on your computer, and that's how the films are getting online. And so we have two collections now from the Bahamas that are online that you can just search online.
Okay.
And the rest of them are still on films until we can get them indexed and so. But the other websites are, you know, like there's Africanese.com, and there were like genforum.com. There were others that had Bahamian, you know, records. Some of them have some archives. Of course, there's the archive in the Bahamas that still has,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that has those records.
Okay. So what do you have? You said you have Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
Is that free?
It's free at the center. It's if you're using it at home, it's a subscription. And so, but at our Family History Center and at the public library, you can use it for free. So basically, the genealogists that come into the Family History Center go back and forth between Family Search and Ancestry for information, and Google. They do really find a lot. It's amazing, you know, the things that that we found. We did find a lot of these websites that I'll give you.
Now, I know you have to open up an account.
Yeah, yeah. So
explain that to us, please.
So it's really great on Family Search to have an account because they order all the films online now. And so that's one reason. And another reason is to view some of the images of the collections, you need to sign in. And the other reason is because when you have an account and you find a document, then it enables you to use what's called a source box. And you can put that document in that source box and it'll just stay there. So whenever you pull up your account, your sources are there for you to either look to attach to a person, or you can just, you know, you may not be sure that it is the right family member, but it seems like it's close, and so then you want to keep that document and not have to search for it again.
Oh, okay.
And so when you sign in, it'll be on your account, and that's how they can keep it with you.
Now, does this account, is it free, or
yeah,
is there, it's free?
All free. All free. You just have to create it. You know.
And how much are the films now when you're ordering them?
So they're $7.50 for a short term. And for extended, which is there as long as you want it to be, is I think it's $18.75.
Okay.
And so.
When it's extended, you can keep it for how long?
So you can actually keep
indefinitely?
it permanently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have actually 3,000 films on site, and so we have a list of those films that are. People can just see what we do have there. But when you go to order online, you will choose the Family History Center that you want the film to go to, and they will tell you if the film is already there, so you don't have to order it.
And how long does it take for you to get a film from Salt Lake City?
So it's about 2 weeks, and then sometimes it's back ordered, then it's 4 weeks. And then it stays in this Family History Center for 90 days. So you have 90 days to view it.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, give us some information about the Family Search catalog. How does that?
Yeah. So the catalog is where the films, like if you put in the place and the Bahamas, then it would bring up all the films they have from the Bahamas, but it also brings up books that, and we can't, they don't do interlibrary loan there if you find a book you want, but every time that every book I found and that I was in the Bahamas, you know, preparing, there's a website called worldcat.org.
Okay.
And that tells you where the book is. And so I think I looked up 4 or 5 books, and they were all at the New York Public Library. So.
Oh, yeah. At the Midtown Manhattan Public Library, they have a huge selection of books.
Yeah.
And they also have a huge selection of resources, electronic resources. There
good,
too,
yeah.
But I find that no one has yet equaled the kind of space that we had at Lincoln Center Temple before you all Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now, give us some more information on searching for your family, or doing a family tree.
So, well, basically, people, when they do begin and they come with their pedigree chart, usually they do just start with a pedigree chart. And then what happens is they start finding information and need the family group sheet to put all the kids and the parents and all those dates.
Yeah, I love that family group sheet. Yeah,
the family group sheet is really indispensable.
Yeah,
And so, but building the family tree, it's kind of like building a case. You're getting evidence, and so many records that we find are maybe not the exact spelling. The birth date may be off a little, and you kind of have to just go and take all the clues and keep those resources together. When you get enough to say the same thing, then you pretty well know that's your ancestor, But and so many people have different ways, especially online now, that they can build their family tree. That there's third-party software, which there's a couple of free ones, and other ones where they can put all their information. And one other great thing about technology is they're doing it where you can, retrieve that information from any computer, And so it's really helpful, especially when you don't have a lot of space. The paper keeps building up.
True.
So,
Yeah.
And so, but
yeah. How easy is it indexing your family? This information.
You mean like what the volunteers do?
Yeah.
So, well, they actually, on Family Search on the homepage, it has the indexing, a test drive you can do, and it'll show you. So what they've done is they have really worked hard on the projects. They get it all ready for you, and so when it comes up, they give you, every field is highlighted that you write down. So you'll get to one field, and it'll highlight it on the document of what they want you to write in a certain space.
Okay.
And so there are sometimes it is hard to read, and so you can actually send it back and ask for another one. And they have, hundreds of current projects going on, and you actually can choose which one you want to index right now. And so,
okay, yeah. Now, let's see. What kind of community help do you offer at your center?
Yeah, so we have like some specialists that volunteer for us, and we have like 4 specialists that specialize in African American. We have one that does actually Ireland and New York. She's great at that. So if we get patrons in that have really hit a block, and they need some real experience, and people, some of the areas are very specialized, and they've spent a lot of time. So we actually make appointments for them to meet with these genealogists, and they'll volunteer to give them help.
Yeah.
And there's also on Family Search, they have a forum that everyone's talking to each other. So you can, they have you can set up your own, if you have a question, even if you have a document that you can't read or needs translated, you can actually attach it in this community forum and see if anyone can. And it's been a really great resource for a lot of people. Now we are connected to the world.
Right, yeah. Well, talking about having someone there to decipher what, the text you're looking at.
Yeah.
When I was at the Lincoln Center, I researched my ancestors' birth certificate from Sweden.
Oh, really?
And I couldn't read it. So one of the other members who was researching, was from Sweden, so she was able to read it for me.
Yeah.
And I saw where my ancestors are from, Madam so and so and Madam this and Madam the next thing. So then they start saying, here comes royalty.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And talking about having persons there to help you, I looked. It took me about close to 18 months to 2 years to find my great-grandfather's birth certificate, actually, I was at his birth certificate or his date of birth. In the Bahamas, their records would say the male child, but not the name would not be inside the birth certificate.
Yeah.
So you need the baptismal record, which will show the child's name to correspond. And the baptismal record was not there in the Bahamas, and it was lost through a flood or what have you, but I wasn't able to find it. And he moved to Florida in 1919, and he stayed there until he died in 1944. So there was that, you know, search that took me 18 to 24 months to find documents that will correspond to say, yes, this is the same person who was born 1868 in the Bahamas. And going back and forth to the Mid-Manhattan Library, they didn't have they were just collecting, getting census information in. And one Saturday I went in, and Mara Laragamo was on. And I asked her for, you know, the census for Florida. Florida does a census every 5 years.
Yeah.
And that apparently that particular year when they came to take the census, my great-grandfather was home, and he told them his date of birth. And it took me 18 months plus to find that information that will link to his baptismal record in the Bahamas. So I had to get his death certificate and his eldest son, his marriage certificate, all of those documents together, and then send it back to Tallahassee for them to, you know, sort of affirm that all these documents, yes, it's the same person that corresponds to that birth certificate. So, so having persons there who are able to, you know, you can consult with is very important in doing research.
And Family Search does, they offer a, you know, you can call for research help to Salt Lake, or you can email or even chat online now.
Okay.
When you're, you know, because they do in Salt Lake have many, many resources, many languages, people that work there and volunteer there that, you know, have researched certain areas. So it's a really great resource.
So are these folks at the library at Salt Lake City, or are they at different centers chatting?
Yeah, well, they're different. Actually, some people even are just at home who have volunteered to take phone calls for research in their areas. But many are in Salt Lake at the library there, and others. But I know one evening I called, and actually I called at 10 at night because I had a situation. I just thought, they said they had 24/7, and I got someone in Guam that was, you know, a genealogist that wanted to help, and so whatever, you know, it was a great time for her there, and so, you know,
that's great.
Really
How long has that service been available?
You know, they have been just adding more and more since they kind of went online. So the last like 4 years is when I've been aware of it, but and actually recently, maybe within the last year, they've added like the chat, you know, and just different, you know, with the technology, it's just getting easier and easier to be able to communicate and get our problems, you know.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, you know, we're having this conversation because, you know, for folks to know who are searching, to know that they can, you know, chat online to get questions answered, or even to ask, where do I go to look for certain documents?
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. Sometimes
That's
it
very
really
helpful.
helps, for people to even tell where they're at, and someone else to, you know, for them to just be able to talk about it together. It helps to really kind of figure that out. But it is great. They have a lot of people that, and you know, that's the thing I've found is genealogists are the nicest people. It's like they love to share and love to help. You know, and they're just happy to help people out.
I found that, very true. Yeah, well, actually, my ancestor from when Actually, one is from Ireland, and the other one came from Sweden.
Wow.
And I find that trying to find birth certificate in England is very difficult. You have to know, I think there's town and there's different sections.
Yeah.
Have you found that to be so, or?
You know, I haven't done as much research in England, but I just know that every area has its different hard things to get, you know. But I think with England, it seems like the christenings are the most common way that people get the, you know, the dates.
Right, but
and
it's
the birth certificates are more difficult.
Okay, yeah, the christening, but it's difficult to find like which town, because they're little small pockets of, you know, they're not like, well, one central place where you can, what church, you know.
Yeah, and that is one thing, is that there is a lot online now, but there's still a majority that isn't online, and many people still need to actually write to the, you know, the county courthouse or other places that have archives, you know, some of the churches, to see if they can get information, you know. But the first thing is to always check everything you can online, and then you can actually find the courthouses online too, and how to connect with them. Even sometimes they'll say, if you want a birth certificate, fill out this application online now, you know. And so it's, you know, it's been really helpful.
Well, that's kind of risky to get birth certificates online. Now, here in the United States, it's very difficult to get birth certificates unless you're not a close relative. If you're a cousin, you cannot get a family member birth certificate. But you know, since 9/11, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
So that's.
And I think it is the date. You know, if it's after a certain date back, it's better. But I know that I did hear somebody. We were talking about it in the Family History Center, and someone was having a struggle getting a birth certificate, and somebody else said, "Go there in person, you know, and tell them this is for genealogy purposes." And she had done it, but she said it over the phone and through the mail. It did not work. But when she went in person in New York, you know, then she got better results. So.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how about England and Ireland? I'm kind of, I mean, I find those, Ireland especially, very difficult to get birth certificates or even to know the date when someone was born. Do you have family search centers in Ireland?
Yeah, we have family search centers in Ireland, and actually one of our genealogists that specializes in Ireland, and she has, I know she does subscribe to some Ireland genealogy websites, but she has been able to be very successful in what she's found in Ireland. So, you know, I'll connect her with you.
Yeah, because
I know that she uses mainly these one websites, and she actually did go over there, and so she was able to find information. But she does have, you know, knows a lot about where to go and where to find that information. So, you know, I'll have to.
It's interesting. I've visited Salt Lake City several times. The library there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. I was absolutely amazed. The kind of setting they have there. It's all England floor, Caribbean floor. Yeah, you know.
It is great. Just to look up your film and go get it off the shelf.
Yeah.
I know one time I was there and I was looking at some old records, which I thought were in French because it was Belgium, and I just could not read this one. And so I went up to the desk and they found somebody, and she said, "Oh, this is Latin. It says da-da-da." I thought, that is amazing, you know. They do have a lot of
that's
great
quite
help.
interesting.
Yeah.
What are the hours?
So for our hours, we're open Tuesday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then Fridays 10 to 6 and Saturdays 10 to 5. And so, and I actually do have the area family history centers here with just the phone numbers, because their hours are, sometimes there's just twice a week, or, you know, one day and a Saturday, and they just change and so we have their phone numbers, but I'm not sure of the hours on the others. But, you know,
Okay.
and so,
Sure.
but yeah, I have that, and actually, you asked me about affiliate libraries.
Yes.
And so I did find some that in the New York area there's affiliate libraries, and any library that wants to become an affiliate can be. The New York Public Library is interested, maybe in the future. They just can't right now.
Okay.
And so, but that would be, it's an added benefit. When you order and choose a family history center near you when you're ordering film, those affiliate libraries will also come up. So if you're closer to a library, then you can choose that for your film to go to.
Let's welcome back. This is Dem Bahamians, and I'm speaking with Pat Nixon from the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we're talking about getting started in genealogy. Now, I think this year, April, they launched the 1940 census.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of that? Is that available at the temple, at the center?
It's available. So they had a real big push and asked volunteers to index it. It's actually all indexed, and Ancestry.com has it too, so that you can search it by name.
Okay.
Now, and you can do it, FamilySearch.org, you can do at home, and it's there, the 1940 census.
Okay.
So if you want to look at the census on Family Search, you go to the United States under All Record Collections, and then hit United States again, because it'll come up alphabetically, Alabama, all the states. But if you hit United States again, it has the census, all the federal censuses there
Right,
that you can search.
Oh, so I can. And is there a charge for searching the census on the records?
No charge.
No charge.
Yeah.
Okay. At FamilySearch.org.
Yeah, FamilySearch.org.
Okay. And the 1940 census on FamilySearch.org, it's up to date.
Yeah.
All the names are in, so you just have
All
to.
the names are in. Yeah.
Okay.
You put the names in, and you never know on the spelling, but you know, it's
Right.
close.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, so it's been great. It's been really fun for a lot of people to see
Yeah,
the
that's-
1940 census.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Good to know. Yeah, I attended the launch at the New York Public Library on the road to 1940 census,
Oh.
and we showed it on Manhattan Network.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a all-day seminar,
Yeah.
and we will be showing it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They had some really great speakers who talked about
I
different
think that's the
subjects.
same one I was talking about. I don't know, because it was different people spoke. And,
Right. Yeah, in April.
Yeah.
Of this year.
you know,
Yeah.
there's-
Are there some other forms for the beginners?
Yeah, the forms for the beginners are this is actually what we have at the Family History Center, but it's the pedigree chart is the very beginning form. And, so when people come in and they haven't started at all, we do just say start with the pedigree chart. And because as soon as we find the family, then we have them go to the family group sheet. So the pedigree chart is the first one, and then the family group record. And
What's the difference between the two of them?
So the family group, the pedigree chart is only the parents. It's no children. So this would be you, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. And so when you find like your grandparents and then your aunts and uncles, and then you want to get all their information down, then you need to put it on a family group sheet, because you have the parents and all the children listed.
Okay.
And so that's the family group sheet. And then the other one we talked about was the research log, which to just help you so you don't have to backtrack and look again at something that you've already.
Oh, you would put down where you'll index where you
yeah,
got
you
it,
just
which
like
book
a
and
film or
page
a
number.
book. Yeah.
I
And if
see.
you found something, or if a book that had the right dates, but your ancestor wasn't in there, then you'd still want to put the book you know, in the title and say, you know, my grandfather was not in this book.
Okay.
And then, because later on you'd see it again and think, I don't know if I looked at that book.
Right.
Yeah. And then this is the other one.
This is the research chart.
Yeah. And actually, if you go online on Google and put in genealogy forms, there are many websites that will give you free forms, and there's many kind of forms. I've noticed with genealogists that they get their favorites, you know, and some have a cemetery log, you know, that every cemetery they go to and they log down, you know, and there's many forms. These are the basic for the beginners, and then you can print them off for free online. There's many websites that will offer them for free. And so,
Are there any other charts too?
that's all I have there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me ask you: how is the integration of the Latter-day Saints into the Black community? Is that moving along nicely?
Yeah, it seems to be really moving along nicely. You know, there's we have the church up in Harlem now, there for New York, but there's many other places in other countries that.
Are they in the Caribbean as well?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're in Bahamas. In other places.
Yeah, they're actually, you know, there's, you know, a few countries that they aren't in, but basically, they're everywhere and open to, you know, and integrating well. You know. Oh, the pedigree chart is the information you get is, you know, the birth date, birthplace, marriage, and death dates. And a lot of times people, you know, begin to fill it out, but they of course don't remember. But the next best source is any living relative, you know, to get any information from that. And a lot of times now in the Family History Center, people will come in, we have a sign outside, and they'll just say, hey, I think I'll go in and, you know, try it. And with the Who Do You Think You Are and the movies, you know, they're interested. People are interested. And so what they're doing a lot of times is they're trying to fill it out, and they're just on their cell phones calling mom and dad and getting more information. And it really is exciting. Like, we've had couples, too, that, you know, or people that come in and maybe don't have a computer, or, you know, they're older, and but as soon as they see something on the screen, it's like, wow, there's my family, you know, and they're just very excited. And so so as soon as they find information, we just write it down, you know. And most of the time they'll gather some information, and then they need to get it organized. And that is like the biggest next step, is to keeping your stuff organized, because many times they'll come in with little pieces of paper and they'll say, oh, here's this, or they'll have documents, you know. And so if they can keep it organized, you know, in a notebook and with each line, and because that's what they find the next major decision is which line am I going to work on. And many times they come in and, you know, they're with the grandfather, and then they'll go to another grandfather, and it gets a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, especially I think if they try to do both at the same time.
Yeah.
The father side and the mother side.
Yeah.
They tend to, that can become very frustrating, very confusing.
Yeah.
If they try to do both and not stay specifically doing, you know, one side of the family instead of trying doing both. That causes a lot of, you know, persons abandoning their project.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do. It is good. They start with one line and go as far as they can, and then choose another line. But and we have some neat experiences in the Family History Center. You know, a lot of people are so excited when they see. We had one woman that came in, and she had never seen her great-grandmother, but someone in her family had put the picture on Ancestry.com, and we found it, and she was like in tears. She saw, you know, so it's a really, really brings families together, I've found, you know. There's people doing there was another person that she found information, and when she sent it to her cousins, which they hadn't really spoken to each other, and they're just all planning a family reunion now.
Okay.
You know, so anyway,
Okay,
but
that's-
yeah. So from this is the family group sheet, you know, with the kids.
I know
and-
that when I was at the Lincoln Center, Family Search Center, there were some elders that were there, and they were tracking down relatives in North Carolina and South Carolina. And they were thinking that, you know, they were people of color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you
we
know.
have definitely, as a matter of fact, one person that works, that is with the African American Association that volunteers for us. And at his family reunion, he has Caucasian. They found out they're cousins.
Yeah, yeah.
They're coming now, so I think we're all related.
Yeah, that's the barriers that we talk about. That is, you know, coming down. That
it's
you know,
really
there's
true.
you know, so you
It's
find
really true.
so it's you know, I find the history of my family to be very, very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when I find that my great grandfather came from Ireland.
Yeah.
And then another one came from Sweden. Of course, I do know, we've met relatives from Sweden already, but
Yeah.
we haven't met any from Ireland. But,
Yeah.
you know, the last
Really?
name is Fox, so there are a lot of foxes in Ireland.
But you met
Yeah.
them from Sweden, huh?
Yeah,
Some
actually they
relatives?
came to Bahamas
Oh, really?
to look for us, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, that's
yeah,
so neat. Yeah, it is amazing the stories and the miracles that
Yeah,
people,
yeah,
when they're doing they start doing it,
Right, right.
and they just find information where they didn't think they'd ever find it.
Yeah,
you know?
because my great-grandfather from Sweden, he was admiral on the ship. He
Really?
absconded to England, and then he became a admiral on a ship that was coming to Bahamas during pirating time, looking for spices.
Really? That
And
is so
yeah, they were
interesting.
grounded in Long Island, Bahamas, and that's where he
Wow.
stayed. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, then I had
That
another
is,
relative who went to England to be knighted, and the Queen told him about, see, we have actually it's Thornquist.
Really?
Thornquist, who was the admiral on one of our ships, and he never came back.
Wow. So I am with royalty today.
So
Yeah.
he stayed in Bahamas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
that's a nice
so
place
the
to
descendants
stay.
back in Sweden knew that, you know, they traced that part.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they shared that part with us, yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
So we were able
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
But
is
on my
interesting.
father's side, the Foxes, they came to America during the Revolutionary War. And my great-great-grandfather came 7 years before the Revolutionary War,
really?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he fought in the Revolutionary Army.
Really?
And when England came into America to fight, he absconded from the Americans and joined the British Army.
Oh, really?
And
oh,
which
yeah.
was, they were not too happy about that. So there goes my membership to the Daughters of the Revolution.
And
Yeah,
then
'cause-
did he go to the Bahamas then?
Yeah, he went to Bahamas, yeah.
Yeah.
He went there because, you know, they were looking for him. So his first chance, first boat heading out of Florida, he took it and went to Bahamas.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his brother stayed. His brother was
Oh,
John,
really?
and he stayed with the Army.
Oh.
So although he came to Bahamas, because he fought for the American, he was able to come back into the United States.
Oh,
But my
yeah.
great-grandfather was not allowed back.
Oh,
So
really?
he
Yeah.
stayed there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his brother died in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I have his, I know where his
Very.
grave is, and I have his etching
Oh,
from his
really?
grave.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
neat.
So it's interesting.
So interesting it is.
It
Yeah.
is. Mm-hmm.
Fun to find that
Yeah.
out.
So what have you found out about your genealogy, your search?
Well, actually, my family, the line I have been researching is they're from Belgium and Holland, like right on the border.
Okay.
And so it was a little bit difficult after you get out of the United States. But I have like a a distant cousin that was also doing a lot of research that I got a lot of information from. And so I basically have information, and so now what I'm trying to do is find the stories behind it, you know. And so like now it's looking at the whole family and how old they were and where they were living. And I know my great-grandfather owned a meat packing company. I have a picture in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You know, but those are the really fun things to find out what they went through.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
and everything. But I haven't connected to royalty, but my husband has. So he wanted me to start, you know, treating him better. That was great, but he's from Scotland.
You're Scotland. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, well, I know that my great-grandfather lived in York, Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah, he lived there when the war broke out, and so I need to go. I need to go to York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I've seen some records coming out of York, Pennsylvania, so I need to go there and search.
Yeah.
And also in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh.
His brother John was very active in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, he was a rebel.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. Sometimes in the Family History Center, it's been difficult for some people because it's a sensitive area too, where they found things they weren't expecting in the family. But most of the time, you know, it's just been thrilling, you know, to find information.
I think that you know, a lot of things are uncovering, but they're not as, you know, they're not significant when you find that a black family is, you know, linked to a white family.
Yeah.
And those barriers are coming down gradually. So, you know,
and that's wonderful.
You find that research, you know, they say, oh, you're opening up a Pandora's box. It's not really important any longer. You know, it has no, you know, importance to knowing, you know, that I'm related to so and so, you know.
Yeah, and I think it does soften, like doing the family history and finding out their history and their story and, you know, their forefathers and everything, no matter what color they end up being.
Right,
you know?
right, yes.
So, yeah.
But you know, I find what is interesting and intriguing to me is the way how the Latter-day Saints use the genealogy as a way of baptismal and other. There are other steps that you use the genealogy for, right?
Yeah, there's actually we have a ceremony for sealing for marriage that you're sealed together forever. So that's another one, you know, that we do. But yeah, it is basically we just feel like that we're going to be in family units,
right?
You know, and that's where our strength is in our family.
Right, right. And so, at which point does the married folks do that? Before marriage or during?
Well, actually, if you mean for the deceased or now?
No, for now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So like when I got married at age 21, you know, then I went to the temple, and so you can get married there too.
Yeah.
You know, and then sealed. We call it sealed.
The genealogy is called sealed.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had to prepare a genealogy.
Yeah, so we have our records from if we're, you know, members, longtime members in the church. I mean, they have our records, and then, you know.
You just add on to that.
Yeah, we add on to that together. Yeah.
Okay.
So
with that kind of a string, do you find that cousins are not marrying cousins? Or?
No, because they're keeping track. You know,
that's great.
Yeah. And sometimes when, like my husband, he is a longtime member for generations, and so his genealogy he has many lines that go back a long ways. And so mine is not so much, you know. My dad was of a different faith, and so his, you know, his records aren't like in the church. They just keep track of all the records,
right?
You know, and so then it's, you know.
So they said that, you know, these records are housed in Salt Lakes in the mountain.
Yeah, you know, I thought about that today because I thought, oh, I should have gotten a picture of that vault.
Yeah, what is it like?
Yeah,
give us some kind of...
It's a granite mountain that they actually dug in, you know, dug inside of it. And so there's a huge, you know, compound inside where they keep the films at the exact right temperature and make sure that, you know, they're archival.
Right.
And so when someone orders a film, they will get the film out of the vault, they call it the vault, and make a copy and send it. So they have many copies now of films, but there are once in a while there has been a film that hasn't been ordered.
Okay.
And those are usually ones that will be back ordered because the vault, they have to get it from the vault and make the copy and get it to the distribution center in Salt Lake and then mail it to us. But yeah, it's a pretty amazing. There's actually a video that describes and shows the whole process and everything they do.
Okay.
On the vault, they're all wearing the gloves and, you know.
Right, right.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing that, you know, they found that granite mountain.
I know. I was at the...
Yeah, I know. All the time I think I'm grateful that they started filming so long ago because, you know, back then I don't think they thought of how much we'd be interested now, number one, or how the materials they used, or, you know, things like that. So
genealogy, I mean, when I first started 10 years ago, it has gone a long way since then, and it's still the interest is mounting.
It is. It is mounting. Yeah. So.
Well, Pat, I think we have reached to the end of our session. This has been really enriching, and I hope it has been enriching to my viewers out there in MNN land. Okay, and also to all the other folks that are going to be, you know, beginning their research. Yeah. I hope they find this helpful, and you know, if you're stuck, the Latter-day Saints.
We're happy to help. Yeah. So.
And you have quite a network of persons that are available. Yeah. So you know, if you get stuck, you know. Yeah. Come over and see one of those consultants. And I think I'll be visiting them soon. When I started the Ireland side. To definitely find my ancestor back in Ireland. Okay. So it has been a pleasure.
Well, for me too. It's been really nice.
It's been really enriching. And I look forward to another conversation with you.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.